Do. Oh, hello. Hello, hello. Let's get this rolling. I'm so excited about today. Like, this is honestly, ooh, Nicole. Yay. Hey, Nicole. Ah, I'm so happy you're here. I'm always happy to see you. All righty, Rue. So, today is something that has been, and I'm going to try to keep up the chat. As you can see, by the way, I do not know what is in the air, but whenever I go to do a master class, for some reason, it is the day whenever they start doing construction over on my neighbor's house. And those poor people have been getting their pool in. Their pool is finally finished, but they've been like doing all the like little extra stuff for their yard and like jazzing it up. And so they're like out there with like bobcats right now. And I'm like, there's something magical about my bedroom space whenever it comes to master classes that I just like make a little cozy comforter, and I just like hang out on the ground and I teach. Because at the end of the day, I know it feels like they've been building that pool for 2 years, right? At the end of the day, like whenever you have a drive and a fire for something, like I feel like this is the perfect example whenever it comes to a consistency masterclass. Like whenever you have a drive and a desire, you have to put all the other things on the outside, like even the things that come up and they feel like challenges or they feel like obstacles or they feel like, because for me, I was like, oh my God, I don't want to set up another masterclass in the bedroom. I literally have my computer on like laundry baskets. I have my microphone. I have my TikTok set up different. But it was like, no, like, let's put Stephanie aside for a second and remember the fact that, like, you have a message that needs to get through, no matter if you're feeling tired, no matter if you're feeling uncomfortable, no matter if you have been comparing yourself to others, like you literally have to turn that off whenever you have this fire in your belly and that you know you're meant to create on social media and you know you're meant to be this person that shows up and helps other people and guides other people. You just know that there's like a message that's coming through you. It almost has nothing to do with you and everything to do with just this feeling that you have. And whenever you have that feeling, like come hell or high water, you're going to show up for your business and you're not going to let anything get in the way. So today's masterclass actually was based off of a little mini masterclass I did in a group program where I was teaching with another coach and I came on as a guest teacher. And I did one class about the gene keys and your profile lines. I love talking about that stuff because I feel like that's so important whenever it comes to our confidence online and how we see ourselves. But there's also like so many other pieces. Like if anybody ever tells you this one thing is the answer to your success, baloney. Like there's literally not just one thing. It's skill set stacking on top of another. And so for me, my core values of my business are confidence. That comes from your gene keys, your human design, your Enneagram test, your Briggs Myers, like how you see yourself, how you hold yourself, the things that you like to do outside of your business, like who you are, what your values are. It comes to your content, getting really sharp and really clear in your messaging so that it's fun to show up, so that you're like every single day you're like, yes, I do want to show up on social media and I do want to create. This is incredible. This is amazing. And it's consistency. So many people will glaze over the consistency and they will let themselves falter depending on what's going on in the outside world. And like today, I really want to drill this in for you, no matter what's going on in your life. If there's something like crazy happening while you're running your business, because like life sometimes, right? Like I want you to plug into this and remember why you're doing this work. Remember why you're here and how powerful it truly is whenever you show up as the most consistent version of you. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Like I said, over on TikTok, if you are on my email list and you got the Zoom link for this, feel free to join so that you can see the slideshow as well. All righty. And move this out of the way. Put this over here. All right. Okay. I'm so used to having my mouse that whenever I teach classes in here, I'm like, oh, I have to like manually do it. It's kind of like, have you ever seen those clickers for your Kindle? I haven't gotten one yet, but I like just became a Kindle girly not too long ago. I swore I'd never do it. I was always like, I have to have a physical book, like kind of person. But I got a Kindle last year, changed the effing game. And oh my gosh, I think sometimes when I manually have to like click through it, I'm like, it could be so much easier if I just had one of those clickers. That's how my mouse feels. So we're doing it acoustically today. But this is called consistency badass. So this is how you show up even bigger, even more determined, even bolder in your business, no matter what is happening in the outside or no matter what's happening with the mind, like the mindset that comes through, because like not every single one of your thoughts is true. Did you know that? Like, not every single one of your thoughts that comes through that tells you either you're wonderful or that you suck today, not all of those are true. And we get to choose which are very strong for us and what we want to believe and what we want to take action from. And so today's goal is to help you avoid the pitfalls of what gets in the way of showing up consistently for yourself and your online business, and the actions and mindset flips that you can use again and again on the way to self-mastery. Now, it does not matter if you are using this and going back because you're building your business, or if you're like on a health kick, or if you're on like you're developing a new talent or a hobby. Like, use this whenever you need this. Like, your girl speaks in entrepreneur because it's almost been 6 years that I've been an entrepreneur now. I love online business. I love teaching people how to show up and be their boldest, wildest self online. But I want you to use this no matter what you're navigating through, to come back to this lesson again and again whenever you need that oomph, that little pep in your step to keep going and keep moving. And so here's the truth. Whenever you're going after something new, it's broken up into three pieces. It's truly the taking action, the mental clarity, and the helpful thoughts that are going to help you get further with that action, or to even like be in the right space to take the good kind of action, and the persistence to see things through. Now, I'm sure you being in the online space and being an entrepreneur have seen so many people that are like, if you have not hit 50K months in your first 60 days in your online business, you absolutely suck. Like, in no way, shape, or form does that have to be reality for you, that you suck because you didn't come in with a certain skill set, or you suck because you're someone different, or you have different offers. Like, there's a magic in like knowing, hey, I know everything works out for me. I know that whenever I apply myself, I will get results. But there's also something called tenacity and something called grit that I think that most people are lacking in this day and age. And whenever you have it, you become so unfucking shakeable that nobody can compete with you. I was listening to this Instagram reel the other day. I don't know about you, but my Instagram loves me so much, because if I ever need like words of motivation, if I go to the reels and I watch like one inspiring thing, it'll just be like boom, 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 boom. And it'll just be so many things where I'm like, damn, I'm pumped up now. And there was something that I was listening to that was talking about, in this like soft girl era, in this like everybody needs to be super aware of their mental health era, we are losing the pieces of us that really have this drive and this determination and this like, I'm going to make it work no matter what. And that doesn't mean you like run yourself into the ground, but it means that you have the persistence to see things through and to keep showing up even whenever you don't have that instant validation. It's like to keep believing in yourself and come back and get better every single day, again and again and again, and not taking breaks, not ghosting your audience, not being like wayward and all these other different things just because of outside results. It's just deciding that you have a bigger purpose in this life and showing up for it every single day. And so here I have the roller coaster of the things that happen that get in the way of us taking these incredible actions or having this mindset. It's like you might have a new client sign up, and then you get on your TikTok and there's a mean troll comment. You know what I mean? You might have 25 likes, 25,000 likes on a post, and then you get 8 likes on your next post. You might feel creative as fuck for like 3 days in a row and be like, I will never run out of content ideas. I am on fire. This is amazing. And then a week later, you're like, I literally don't know what I want to post today. Like, you may shit talk yourself one day. And then the next day, all you have to say is nice things. And you're like, this is wonderful. This is working. I believe in myself. We got it. We're in the groove. You got a bunch of likes and views on one video. And then the next day, it's Cricket City. Do you see, like, you have a Stripe notification come in and then it's crickets? You know what I mean? Like, how easily we can ride this roller coaster, especially as entrepreneurs, of this up and down. And how easy it could be to let our emotions take the steering wheel and make the decisions of how we're going to show up online. And I'm here to tell you that having the staying power during all of it, during every single piece, every single up, every single down, every single moment of doubt, every single moment of belief, to have this almost like you're an outsider looking in perspective of like, I know that I'm here to do something big. I'm going to watch the results. I'm going to see it happening, but I'm not going to let myself get pulled along, kind of like you're in the rapids and you fell out of the boat and you're just like floating along with the water. Like, no, you don't need to get pulled around like that. Truly, you get to have this like stasis within yourself. I'm not a scientist. Is that what word I'm trying to say? Like, you get to have this like balance, this even temperament within yourself, no matter when everything is going wonderful for you in your business, or it feels like you're doubting yourself and it feels like you're not seeing the results that you want. Whenever you can hold on to that middle ground and just show up no matter what, that's where the magic is. Because that's where most people, this is what's going to differentiate you from most people. Most people are not willing to stay with something for 3 weeks, for 3 months, for 3 years, if they're not automatically getting the results that they want. But you are not that kind of person. Like, I'm such a big believer that you hear exactly what you need to hear at the right moment. It's always how it's been for my life. And I've always set that intention with my teaching. And so if you're hearing this, it's because there's something bigger for you and you have this tenacity, you have this grit, you have this ability to master yourself while you're here and shine. Okay. And so over here on my little slideshow, I have the cutest little gremlin, but this is what I call, like, picture it in your mind if you're over on TikTok Live, like this little fuzzy gremlin. And anytime this voice comes into your head, because Lord knows, whenever you're training your brain to be more positive and to think in ways that are helpful for you, and I'm not talking toxic positivity, I'm talking like success mindset, right? Whenever you're training your brain to have the success mindset and another one of those voices creeps into your head, I want you to picture it as this little mother trucker right here. Like, he's super cute, but he has super sharp teeth and he's kind of a jerk weasel, right? So picture this guy as that voice in your head. You can name him Fred or Chad or Dingledork. I don't care. Give this little gremlin a silly name that every time one of those thoughts creeps up into your mind that is not productive to your goals, you can be like, Jason the gremlin, like, F off. There's no room for you today. Whenever you assign it to something outside of yourself, instead of making it like so personal and so like where it sinks into all of your cells and where it consumes you to the fact where you're like having such like bad thoughts about yourself that you're giving yourself a stomach ache. Like, who's ever done that? I know I have, my God, like where I've just like anxietied out myself from doubt whenever I could just stop it before it even gets to the gates and be like, no, you are a little gremlin and you don't have a space inside my mind. You don't have a space inside my body. Like, there's no reality here for you to take up. And so whenever this like consistency gremlin comes, this is the shit that slows down your progress. This is the shit that will keep you from overanalyzing instead of creating. This will make you self-doubt, and this will make you skip opportunities. I'm clapping a lot today. We got a lot of energy right now. this will make you skip opportunities that can bring you a lot of success because of that self-doubt. Okay, and you're going to feel like I'm inside of your brain right now with all of these, because in between my clients and in between myself, like these are all very real things that we experience as entrepreneurs and content creators. So like buckle up, buckaroo, because like you're going to be like, how is she in my brain right now? But it's because these are all normal. These are all normal thoughts, but it's how we handle them on the other side that determines if you're just going to be normal or you're going to be an extraordinary human. And I believe that you have that extraordinary human inside of you. I don't think that you're just here listening to this for no good reason. And so that little consistency gremlin, call him Chad or whatever, it'll say, you're not pretty enough. You're not thin enough. Like your titties are too small. Your hair isn't the right color. Your teeth don't look like hers. Your clothes are stupid. Like, how many times have you been on Instagram and been like, damn, that girl's wardrobe is like a killer. If I had that kind of wardrobe, or if I had that kind of aesthetic with my videos, they would just get like 10 million views every time. Like, how many times have we had those thoughts, right? Ooh, the next one. You don't think you're smart enough. This is the shit that gets in the way of people even creating courses. This kind of mindset right here. I can't even tell you how many times I would study something. Like back in the day, whenever I learned tarot, and back when I learned like emotional body coding, and like there were so many things. And even whenever I was a lavender farmer and I created all natural products, I still didn't see myself as an expert, even though I had put more time in than most people ever would. And I just always thought that everybody else and their mom was way smarter than me, that they taught it better than me, that because they have more followers, they'll be more successful, that my page doesn't look aesthetic enough, that my emails aren't captivating enough. Like, are you having these thoughts? Are you having these thoughts of like, I don't have enough story views. I don't have enough posts or people liking my posts. Like that's the kind of shit that's going to weasel its way into your brain and stop you from showing up in your greatest power. Another one, especially with entrepreneurs, whenever you start showing up big, you're like, am I like, is selling this much annoying my audience? I know that I had that thought before, even though whenever I go to the pages of the creators I love, not once have I ever thought that. Girl, like the people that I know and that I've worked with and that I've even paid that are 7 and 8 figure business mentors, business coaches, whatever it is that they do, they sell more than anybody I know. They're selling like motherfuckers. Like they're not slowing down for anybody because they're worried about what people will think. And you might be like, well, Stephanie, they're successful now. That's why they can do it. Bullshit. Everybody had to start somewhere. You're not just going to start doing this the more successful you become. Like, stop trying to be so damn mysterious and just show up every day and see how that works. Man, Stephanie came in with spice today. Like, we had a lot of spice happening. But you might be like, oh my God, she hit 50K months faster. Or like, oh my God, my offer must be lame. Or they did it in 6 months whenever this is taking me a year. All that stuff is this little consistency gremlin that is getting in the way from you being in your power as a content creator and as an entrepreneur. And like the buck stops here. I'm sorry, like I used to be really nice about this. I'll be honest. Like I used to be so nice about this and sugarcoat my message, and I just don't play in the BS anymore. Like you are smart enough to decide what occupies your mind. You are smart enough to create new thoughts about yourself and your reality. You are smart enough to make different moves than 99% of the population and to think different thoughts than the majority of people on this planet. I believe that you are powerful enough to do that because our thoughts lead to our actions. And when you pair those two together, you become unstoppable. And so to the consistency gremlin, we say, you can suck it, dude. Like you tell that little consistency gremlin, you say, no, like enough is enough. Like I'm literally not allowing this kind of conversation to exist in my brain, in my realm anymore, because now, you know better that whenever you allow that stuff to sit and marinate and soak you up, it becomes like a mind avalanche. It truly becomes this like you know what's so funny? The mind avalanche thing for me just came from, I don't know if you know this about me, but I read smutty fantasy books all the time. Read a series called Ice Planet Barbarians. It is the cutest and the most filthy thing you will ever read, and they're all super short and super easy to read. But one of the books was about this girl that had anxiety, and she kept talking about the fact that like it was like a mind avalanche. And like this consistency gremlin is basically what that is, where it's like one thought that spirals into the next, that spirals into the next, that ends up absorbing half of your day whenever you could be using that time to instead say, fuck it, I'm going to go create through the doubt. Fuck it, I'm going to go create through the uncertainty. Fuck it, I'm going to go make my messaging better and get better with hooks and get more confident and set up my camera in a place where it makes me happy whenever I record these videos. Like, you are in control. So let's rewrite these bullshit thoughts that we were just talking about so that you can create content confidently and show up as the best version of you. I gotta take a drink of water. So these are the thoughts to flip. Like literally, I want you to get your mental spatula out and start learning how to flip these thoughts. Because this is something I started doing probably 2 years ago now. And even whenever it felt a little more difficult in the beginning, it's just become so damn second nature at this point that I felt like I was like flipping all of these thoughts all the time. But now it more so feels like instead of having to actively flip all of these because I've practiced it, it's almost like you have these butter shoulders, right? And where it's like things don't even get to stick to you anymore. Like I don't even have to actively flip the thoughts as much as I used to, but it just comes with practice. Like you just let things bounce off of you and you don't let it stick anymore. But whenever you're learning to flip these thoughts, like think about the ones that we talked about, like I'm not pretty enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not thin enough. Maybe I don't have a big enough booty, like whatever it is. Everybody's different. Everybody has a different thing. Like this is where you flip the thought and you pair it with an action. So what can you do every day to help you remember that you're beautiful, that you're capable, and that you are truly perfect exactly out like how you are right now? Like for me, that looked like stopping assigning other people as more beautiful or smarter or more creative than me. I had to stop like worshiping celebrities in that sense and like giving away this like number one of the most creative or the most beautiful or the smartest to somebody outside of myself. And I had to turn it back inwards and say, you know what, Stephanie, you were the cat's pajamas. Like you were the coolest. This is amazing. Look how wonderful you are. And even though it like truly felt like I was gaslighting myself in the beginning, which honestly, if you want to have a success mindset, like it's going to feel like you're gaslighting yourself, but in the best possible way. And whenever I started doing that, I actually started noticing something different was that over time, I actually did become more beautiful. Over time, I did become smarter. Over time, I did become more capable and get more results because I literally decided to believe that about myself. And so because I believed that about myself, I went out into the world and I posted videos differently. I spoke in a different tone of voice. I held myself and my body movements were different because I believed those things about myself. So what do you need to do? Do you need to go spend some time in the mirror? And I'm not saying like just stand there forever. I'm like talking whenever you're just like going through, you're buzzing through and washing your hands, you can look at yourself in the eyes and be like, I have the cutest smile and I have the coolest hair. Or like, look at me. This is wonderful to be in this body today. And just be grateful for who you are and where you're at currently right now. And then you walk away feeling so incredible and you'll move different. Do you need to be wearing different things and recording videos in places that make you happy? Like if you're not happy with your current setup of how you're doing all of your content or what it looks like, go out there and experiment. Go out there and do it better. Whenever you have those feelings of like they did it faster or they have more followers, Why do you honestly think the numbers truly matter? Do you know how many people that I've worked with that have 250,000 followers on TikTok, that have 500,000 followers on TikTok, even the people that have 1,000,000 followers on TikTok, on multiple TikToks, that are unhappy with their audience, or the majority of their audience like isn't even engaging in their content. They found them from one video and they're just like hanging around. They don't even see their content anymore. Why are you giving power to numbers instead of who you are and what your message is? And what if you could be successful right now and serve your audience as they are? What if you decide, instead of looking at your 10,000 followers and being like, this isn't enough? If you saw that and was like, this is fucking perfect. This is everything I need and more. I am going to give these people so much juice, so much good stuff that their mind is going to explode with the amount of value that they get whenever they come to my page. Like, what if you decided that? And so to do this, this is where you got to stay in your own lane. My God, if that's, I was listening to something the other day that I used to hate repeating messages over and over again, or I would like listen to people, I'd be like, they said that before, blah, blah, blah. And then I learned like that's the name of the game whenever it comes into online business. And that's how I learned too. Truly, the more that we repeat these messages, the more it becomes ingrained in us. So I don't care how many times you've heard stay in your own lane. It's going to mean something different for you today than it meant last week. It's going to mean something different for you today than it means in 6 months whenever you're listening to this. You have to be so focused on you and on creating it your way that, of course, you can take little pieces here and there, but take all of it with a grain of salt because you are not that person. And so if something is getting in the way of making you feel good about yourself, again, block, mute, get rid of anything that is keeping you from your highest potential. I literally, like, my dad used to like all of my posts on Instagram, right? And I literally blocked him the other day because I was like, girl's about to get real spicy with her language. And I don't even want to have the millisecond of the thought of what my dad would have to say about that. Or if my dad would like silently be judging me. It's the same with like, if you got people from high school on your account, like you've got to ditch it. Like those people don't belong in your business. Those are not your ideal clients. So anybody that's not an ideal client, get rid of. If it's bugging you or if it's chafing on you in any way, shape, or form. And any other successful business mentor or coach or whoever it is, if every time you read something from them, you either need to like turn that off where you're not seeing posts constantly all the time, you just plug in whenever you're like, hey, I want to be activated from this kind of energy, like, or I want to turn on their course with this kind of energy. But if it's making you feel like you're not enough again and again when you keep coming back to it, instead of like trying to always figure yourself out and what's wrong with you, let that shit go. It's taking up your time and it's taking up your energy that you could be using to fucking record a TikTok video and teach people something, that you could be selling your offer on Instagram stories. There's way too much. And I know this because I came from the world of spirituality. There's way too much woo-woo that's being introduced into this business world, not in the sense of like, yeah, it's great to have like a good energy. That's beautiful. That's incredible. But I'm talking about the fact that like there's way too much shit that's distracting us from action. And you will get so many more results whenever you just move and you learn and you trial and error. So just think about that, truly. And even those moments of like when you've been creating for a while, like if you're feeling bored or you're feeling unmotivated, my God, there's been so many times where in the past 2 years, I've posted every single day. And it started more with TikTok. And then it went to Instagram about 6 months later, where it stopped being like, 3 or 4 times a week, and it started being every single day. And so it's been over 2 years now. I've been creating pieces of content every single day and posting them on the internet. And you bet your bottom dollar, in that time, there were days where I was like, I'm on my period and I am unmotivated. And like, I don't know what I want to say. I am in a cloud of fog. There have been days where I was like, my grandpa just died. I don't know what to say to the internet today. There have been days where I have been so happy as a clam and excited, and there's so much fun stuff going on that I wanted to be like, I don't need to get on social media today. But I made it a non-negotiable. And so what's your non-negotiable? Is it 5 days a week? Is it 7 days a week? And it's not saying that you don't ever have a human day where like you just go and you like take off and you like go out on a trail and go hiking or whatever the hell you do, but you don't just like ghost your audience for a week and then come back and be like, oh, everything's going to be fine. No, you stay consistent. And I'm going to tell you what, all of those 7 and 8 figure business mentors and coaches that I've gotten to know or I've gotten to work with, they post every single day. The majority of them post every single day. If they're not posting, usually it's because they're a parent. And so their consistency has a different boundary, right? But they're always still working. They're always still selling. But I'm going to tell you what, the most successful people I see are showing up every single day. Every single day. So if you're feeling bored or unmotivated or like you can't create today, it is truly up to you to add that spice in and do something that's fun. That's why I started making content with memes. Like, that's why I started creating my own memes, because I was like, oh my God, like I just need more fun. Like, this business world needs more fun. And so if you even go to my Instagram today, you will see a shit ton of memes, because I woke up and I was like, I need something giggly and I need something goofy today. Like, I want to put that into my business. I want to put that on my storefront, And so it's up to you to add the spice. What new activity could you bring into your work, into the way that you sell on your stories? Have you just been like typing things up and putting a link? Like, okay, it's time to get on camera and it's time to start talking. Hey, Brandy, it's time to get on camera and it's time to start talking and do something different and challenge yourself in a new way. Is it that you need to get on live video? All you've been doing is posting reels, and you need to like talk to your audience and you need to put yourself out there and stretch your capabilities. Is it a new kind of content? I can't even tell you how many people that I've worked with that they keep putting the same content out there. And I did this too, but you're not feeling the needle move. It's time to switch it up. It's time to do something fun. It's time to do something different. Give it a new look. Use some new colors. I swear to God, you will not die if your aesthetics are off. I promise you, promise you, promise you, you will live through the change in aesthetics while you figure it out and you figure out what works for you. Any of those moments that you feel like it's not working, get really real with yourself and be like, where am I comparing my step 1, 2, 3, 4 to somebody else's step 20? Your step 2 to somebody's step 10. What if you lived your life and just had this mindset that like, it's already done, it's already taken care of? What if you focused on truly like, okay, let me take a step back with my content. What is working? Let me take a step back with my sales. What is working? And if right now you're like, it doesn't feel like anything's working, then girl, you're in the best place, because it only gets better from here. Like, truly, like if you're literally in that place where you cannot find anything that's working, then beautiful, because it only goes up from here. These are facts. These are literal facts. Persistence and consistency will always yield results. So stop looking at the clock. Stop looking at other people's clocks that come from totally different places with totally different experiences, and keep your head in your own freaking lane. This is one of the things that I will preach until the cows come home, is the actual reasons to be consistent are not to please some algorithm god and be like, oh, hail the algorithm god. Like, I've posted today. I fed you today. Now bring me followers. Now bring me likes and views. No, girl. Like, you should want to be consistent because you get better. If we left it as simple as that, your goal being that you get better at your messaging, at selling, at marketing, at branding yourself, at making videos, at posting every single day, that you get better. That's what consistency does. I look at shit that I thought was the cat's pajamas back in the day, whether it be videos or written content. And I was like, this should have 1,012 views. This is incredible. I look at it now and I'm like, whoa, that was a little bit of a dumpster fire. Like, if we're being honest and I'm being true with myself, I look back at some of those things. I'm like, woo, girl, like, okay, we had a lot to learn back then, but I'm so glad that I did. I'm so glad that I stayed consistent, because on the other side of that, I got better and my stuff looked better and my messaging got better and I was able to help clients better, right? And the second reason that you want to be consistent is because every time you create, there's going to be more eyeballs on you. Do you get that? Every time you create, not every single person sees every single one of your posts. I literally follow people that I love, that are my peers or my friends or my coaches over on TikTok or over on Instagram, and I don't see all their stuff. I just don't. Not everybody's seeing all of your stuff. So it's your job. Your job online. I'm glad I'm wearing a skirt right now. I'm like moving around. I got shorts on under. But your job is to be visible. I'm not talking to the bird that's a faceless brand. Your job is to be visible and to get out there and to put yourself on camera, put your words in Canva or on that post, whatever it is, and put your stuff out there online. Because every time that you show up, you are opening a door for someone to like, know, trust you, for somebody to build a connection with you, and for someone to invest in you. So you get better and more eyes are on you, the more consistent you are with your social media. And so I've like doctored this up since I taught this masterclass like last month, but my husband and I were having a conversation, and, I used to not talk a lot about my business with him, and I kind of like kept it to myself, and it was like my little thing that I was doing. And I would just like tell him about moves later on, but I've been actually like bringing him into a lot of the decision making, into a lot of the conversations lately, and it's been helping me so much. And one of my favorite things to do, I mentioned this at the beginning, was like Instagram loves me. And the fact is, like, whenever I just need a little pep in my step and some extra motivation, if I watch one video that is like jazzes me up, it'll show me like 20 more. And I'll be like, fuck yeah, like, let's go, let's do this. Like, I just have this like mindset. I'm like, yes. And so I don't care what you think about Joe Rogan. Honestly, I used to think he was a total dick. And I'm sure that there's probably still a million reasons you could call him that, right? But what there is about him is grit and tenacity and persistence. And my husband was telling me just last night, he was like, I was listening to like a clip or something of him talking, and he was saying that for like 6 years of the Joe Rogan podcast or experience or whatever it's called, it wasn't working. For 6 years, he was like funding it completely by himself. And even before that, he was like struggling piece by piece, different little jobs, trying to make it work. But he was somebody that had been famous and been pursuing this for years and years and years. And then he goes to make this podcast, and it takes him 6 years before he can even like think about moving out of an apartment and making money from what he was putting his time, effort, and energy into. And like, it was all these other successful people that were sitting around and they were all laughing because they're like, oh my God, I have a story like this too. Like, where I basically had to eat shit before it all clicked into place. And I'm not saying have that mentality that it has to be so hard and it has to be so draining. I'm just saying have that mentality of like, I'm going to do whatever it takes. Like, I don't care what it looks like right now. I'm going to make this work. I'm going to strengthen my voice. I'm going to strengthen my content skills. I'm going to strengthen my marketing skills. Whatever it is that you're working on as a content creator and an entrepreneur, you're going to get better at it. And over time, you will become unrecognizable. I think about people like Lady Gaga. I talk about her whenever I teach the gene keys a lot because I spent a lot of time looking at her gene keys, to be honest, and like how it related to her life. But everybody called Lady Gaga ugly. And she couldn't sing, they'd say. And they made fun of her. And she struggled with her identity. I was literally watching a video of her performing on stage from like 2009, and she was just like standing in a bikini, like hitting her head on a disco ball while she was singing. And there was like nothing defining, like the way that we see Lady Gaga now, right? She was just trying to figure it out. But all through that time, she just knew. She's like, I'm going to be famous. Like, I'm going to be famous. That's just who I am. It's in my blood. It's in my bones. I feel it. I know it. And I don't care what it looks like on the outside. And I don't care what it is anybody's saying. I'm just going to keep doing this. Okay. I was a cheerleader growing up. So like, obviously I knew about sports and such, played soccer, this, that, the other, but I was never like, I love watching all of these games, blah, blah, blah. But my God, since becoming an entrepreneur, I love listening to athletes talk about what it takes. Like, some of the most motivational things I've heard have come from old videos of Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan, but Kobe always, like, there's so much on Instagram that, like, if you just scroll long enough, you'll find him talking and you will have your ass kicked in the best way possible. But he would endlessly preach about, it's not about winning or losing. Never been about winning or losing. It's about every day showing up and putting in the time to get better than anybody else is willing to do. Are you that kind of person that is willing to put in the energy and the hours and the effort to get undeniable results? No matter what, no matter if it looks like it's working or it doesn't, that you keep showing up for it. That's why most people quit whenever they don't go, like when they go to the gym and they don't lose the weight that they want to lose in 2 months and they're done and they never go back to the gym again. It's because they're not getting exactly what they want right away. They're not trying different things. You have to be willing to show up for your art form and your business and your content and your audience to get better and better and better every single day. I freaking love this picture of Miley Cyrus. I don't know. I think I want to wear that outfit. She's got like a big fluffy, like fake coat and it's like bright green and I'm here for it. Like, literally here for it. Like, think about Miley Cyrus. If I'm not somebody that watches the Grammys and things like that, but I saw enough little tidbits from that this year where, I mean, she looked killer, but she was so excited because she won a Grammy and the girl's been working in this business for the majority of her life. She was literally like taken as a child and like turned into a singer, even though she had like a natural affinity for it, you know what I mean? But was working on it her entire life. And it wasn't until, I think she's like somewhere around my age or something, it wasn't until she's in her late 20s or early 30s that she got a freaking Grammy. Even though they're handing them out to kids like Billie Eilish and just like everybody, she was creating music for that long without winning like music's biggest award in every single day of her life. Like, have you ever heard her sing without anything fancy? Like just in her backyard? Have you listened to videos of Miley Cyrus sing? It's evolved and it's crazy. And the level of talent is unshakable. But just because she continued to not win every year, she kept showing up and she just kept making music to make music to get better at making music. So ask yourself these 3 questions. How can I take the action, and how can I make that action the reward? Every single day, you posting is the reward. You sending the email is the reward. You showing up and teaching the masterclass when you said you're going to do it is the reward. You posting that podcast episode is the reward. You talking with your client is the reward. How can you make the action instead of the validation of likes, of signups, of whatever it is? How can you make the action the reward? Because you're going to be winning way more when you make the action the reward. The second is, how can I have as much fun as possible as I do this? I have to remind myself of this all the time. Even though your girl is a little fun, spiced up, hyperactive kid, like I still have to remind myself, I'm like, as serious as I take things, like I still want to enjoy myself as I create something. I want to be able to look back, just like you want to be able to look back as you create your business and you build your business and you make these offers and you show up on social media and you create content, having as much fun as effing possible while you're doing it. Because my goodness, back in my psychic medium days, whenever I'd speak to people that crossed over, they had the best sense of humor, but it taught me our life is a blink. So we should be enjoying ourselves through our process every single day. And last is, how can I lovingly push myself as I learn to do this even better? How can you be so kind to yourself while also walking on the edge and just come back to the fact that most people aren't brave enough to walk on that edge? So you can just like give yourself a freaking hug every single day and be like, you're doing it. You're incredible. You're learning so much. You're stretching yourself further than you thought you were capable of. And honestly, you're going to have seasons of consistency. You will have seasons of it, and none of them are bad. But understand that whenever you start, it's going to feel more like full pull power. I remember whenever I started posting consistently, and it felt like I was tired. Like I was like, I'm totally not even joking. Like I would be so tired from like posting on Instagram stories, from posting on Instagram, from posting on TikTok and making videos. I would be like, oh my God, how do people do this all the time? And it felt really hard in the beginning. It did. And it was just because I had never done it before. I had never done it before. I wasn't like this master content creator. Even though I was a lavender farmer, I made all natural products. The most I would do was literally like record time lapse videos of me making a spray or like creating lotion. Like it was never in detail the way that I did it whenever I started showing up for my online business. And so you're going to have that season of full power where your foot, like, I feel like you're always going to have your foot on the gas, but where it feels like it's pressing down extra hard because there's so much to learn and there's so much to get better at. And it's okay if you sleep really good on those nights. It's okay if you're putting your all into it. If you're working after your other job or after you've taken care of your kids and you're working on this and you're going, and other people are preaching to you soft girl era, and other people are preaching to you about like having balance in your life, and you look that in the face and you say, fuck it. I have something to bring to the table and I'm going to see what I'm capable of while I'm here. You're going to have that time of full power and like just going for it. You know, then there's going to be the phase of like, you learn all of that stuff from that full pull moment, those like that full pull season. And then you can start simplifying things. And then you start like cutting off the edges and the fluff that don't need to be there anymore because you've learned better. You've learned what works. You streamline yourself. You look at the numbers and the insights of the things that you created and you start to do it better. And then there's going to be seasons of like experimentation, of like talking about your offer in a new way. Or maybe it's like launching something different that builds on what you've already done before, or experimenting with like the way that you make reels or the way that you make TikToks, and like playing around, giving a little bit of extra love and attention to the way that you do things and how it looks and if it's aesthetic. Because girl, it's mostly whenever you start showing up, it's about showing up and making that part of your backbone, but then you get to refine. Then you get to refine. It's like experiment, go for it, refine. And those three things happen over and over and over again in your business. And so truly, today's takeaway with those gremlin thoughts that we started off with, like whenever those thoughts that get in your way, it's like go flip it and take a positive action. I remember one of the coaches that I worked with, she was talking about this in the sense of like every time that you're sitting there and you like have a doubt about something that you're selling, go sell it again. And so back in those days, I was like putting stuff on my Instagram stories every 3 seconds, it felt like, because I was constantly just like deciding like, no, I'm going to take a positive action instead of sit in this bullshit that's just not true. And I'm going to go sell and I'm going to get better at it. And I'm going to talk about it in a different way. So anytime you have one of those thoughts of not being enough, of it not enough followers, not pretty enough, not smart enough, it's like, how can you take that thought, flip it, and go take the action that's going to yield you results that you're looking for? And go be like, you're literally, when you take that action, you're being that person that gets those results. So even though this whole thing is about persistence, I want you to just like take a breath in. And know, they're like, I got this. Good things happen quickly for me. Even more good things will happen quickly for you whenever you're just in it, no matter what, because then you're seeing the good things all the time. You're seeing the wins all the time. And good things do happen quickly, and they happen often for you. But it's just about being persistent through it all. So now you've mastered how to handle it. It's time to truly enjoy this ride. Like, it's time to not let this little gremlin, and if you can see the slideshow, it's so cute, not let this little gremlin stop you. And in fact, let the little mother trucker sit behind you as you ride that roller coaster, and realize that no matter what that outside voice is saying, it doesn't hold power over you and your actions and your movements in your business and what is possible for you while you are here. There's something so big that you're supposed to do. Like whatever it is that you feel called right now to go create content on or to go sell, whatever it is, start doing it now. Stop waiting and go create something you've never seen before. Go play around with different modalities. Go stretch yourself and put yourself in uncomfortable positions, because that, my friend, is where you grow time and time and time again. In those uncomfortable positions is where you grow the most, and where on the other side of those things, you will come out and be so damn proud of yourself that, again, you will become unshakable in who you are at your core and what it is that you're here to teach. And so truly, by the way, if you haven't gone over to my Instagram page, make sure you get over there, because we're talking years of content. If you haven't like checked out my TikTok page, we're talking years of content, mainly starting with the gene keys. This has to do with like your astrology, understand, like, and I teach these gene keys in a different way. I'll be real with you. I cut out the fluff in the spirituality world. And I just like, I don't let people make excuses for this kind of shit. I'm just like, no, this is like a strength finders test. This is like you learning a characteristic about yourself and then going full pull with that in your business, in your branding, in your offers. So whenever you look back on that Gene Key content, know that we learn that not because we're like, oh, I'm this way, so I have to be like this forever. It's like, no, you learn that so that you can grow on it and add to it and become even better and show up with your strengths and attract people into your world through your strengths, right? And then it truly like starts opening up to getting confident on camera, to getting confident with your content, and to staying consistent. So if this is the kind of thing that you have been desperately looking for your business, and this kind of support ring-a-ding-dings true in your soul, I would love to work with you. I literally only work with people that show up for their business, that are bound and determined, and that are ready to make things happen, and that like their self-expression and making a splash on the internet is so important to them that they want somebody in their back pocket. They want somebody like on their side, helping them, pointing them in the right direction of what kind of content, what kind of mindsets, what kind of way of seeing themselves is going to create success for them. I literally had a 1 hour session with somebody last summer that went from making $0 to $8,000 from our one conversation because it changed the way that she saw herself. And so it changed the way that she moved. It changed the way that she sold. And she was just like, Stephanie, please tell this to everybody that this happened. This was so wonderful. And I want to help you do that. I want to help you feel so good and so solid with your message, with who you are, that you become unshakable. So, consistency. It always, if there's like one thing that you could have like tattooed on the inside of your arm, it's to show up every day for this. It's to get better at creating every single day, because on the other side of that is whenever you will see all of the pieces fall into place and be like, damn, I'm so glad I started when I did. Because they always say, they're like, the best day to plant an oak tree was 25 years ago. The second best time is right now. So you haven't missed the TikTok train. You haven't missed the Instagram train. You haven't missed the LinkedIn train, the YouTube train. It's about you showing up and creating. And that's when things start falling into place. All right. So thank you so much for joining me today. I love talking about consistency because I think it's so important. And I'm just not one that's like, hey, let's fluctuate with our energy and how we're feeling and wait for inspiration. I'm like, no, girl, like let's get jiggy with it and like show up and just like do our thing, because we get better from there. So thank you for being here. Thank you for everybody that's going to be watching this replay, whether it's literally 5 minutes from now or 5 months from now or 5 years from now. Like take this and go listen to it whenever you need it. I'm a big believer, like, oh my God, I am a reader. So like my brain works a little bit faster than listening sometimes. So I'm going to upload this as a podcast episode as well. So you can go back. And if you're somebody that you need it a little bit jazzed up too, you can either listen to it and watch this a little sped up, or you can speed it up on your Spotify or your Apple or whatever too. Because I'm that way where my brain just works really, really fast. And so I like getting my messages quick like that. But I love a WW. And I hope that you have the most beautiful day and that you just know. I wore this shirt for a reason. It says always awesome. That you wake up every single day and you feel that in yourself, that like you have this fire for a reason, and absolutely nothing in this world is going to stop you from what you're here to create. So, all right, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.